So we all see it happening, right? AI is getting smarter fast. But what happens when it gets smart enough to do your job? Today, we are digging into a massive question. As AI gets truly intelligent, what happens to the value of human work? Are we looking at a bigger paycheck or a pink slip? All right, let's start with a perspective that is, well, pretty terrifying. It's based on an economic model that tries to imagine what happens when we get artificial general intelligence, or AGI. You know, an AI that isn't just a tool, but a genuine substitute for a human worker. And really, it all just boils down to one single, kind of brutal question. An economist named Pascal Stiefenhofer puts it like this: if a machine can do everything you can do, but better, cheaper, and without ever taking a lunch break, what exactly are you worth to a company? The answer his model spits out is, well, it's not great. Now take a look at this graph, because it shows the whole potential collapse really clearly. That vertical line, that's our economic power, basically our slice of the economic pie. And on the bottom, you have the percentage of work being done by AGI. And you'll notice it's not a slow, steady decline. For a while, things are fine. But then you hit a tipping point. As AGI goes from just being a helper to being a full-on replacement, our economic value doesn't just dip, it completely falls off a cliff. It goes straight to zero. So here's the absolute key to understanding this. Stiefenhofer says we have to stop thinking about AGI as just another worker. Instead, think of it as a totally new kind of capital. It's like a factory that can build infinite copies of itself instantly for free. It's an asset someone can own. And unlike you or me, you can scale it up forever. That doesn't just bend the rules of economics, it completely rewrites them. You know, for hundreds of years, our whole society has been built on a pretty simple deal, right? You work, and in exchange, you get a paycheck, you get a sense of purpose, you get to be a part of the economy. That's the social contract. But if AGI makes human labor worthless, that entire agreement just shatters. It leaves this huge hole. So what on earth could fill it? Which, of course, leads us to the solution you always hear about: universal basic income. UBI. You know, just give everybody money. Sounds easy enough, but it brings up this one massive, glaring question. If nobody's working and paying income tax, where does all that money actually come from? And this is where the whole story takes a really fascinating turn. What if the thing that causes the problem could also be the solution? What if we could capture the unbelievable wealth that AGI is going to create and just give it back to everyone? Well, that's not just a philosophical debate anymore. Some people are actually trying to do the math. So, okay, how do you even begin to do the math on that? Well, that brings us to this incredible paper by Aran Nayabi. His research basically asks, is an AI-funded UBI just some sci-fi fantasy, or can we actually find a magic number, a specific point where it becomes a real economic possibility? And the model gets super specific. It looks at a future where, let's say, no new types of human jobs get created. Then it asks, okay, how much more productive does AI need to be, compared to the automation we have today, to generate enough cash to give every single adult in the US $12,000 a year? And there it is, the magic number. The model, which is based on today's US economy, says that AI would need to be just 5 to 7 times more productive than our current automation tech. Now think about that. That's not a million times more productive, it's 5 to 7x. That's a real, concrete number that honestly sounds surprisingly reachable. So how soon are we talking? Well, this slide gives us a few different scenarios. If AI development continues to scale at this crazy fast pace, we could hit that 5 to 7x number before the end of this decade. Even if things slow down to a more moderate pace, we're still talking about the late 2030s. This is not some far-off, distant future. This could absolutely happen in our lifetimes. Okay, but here's where it gets really powerful. That 5 to 7x target, it's not set in stone. The research shows that this isn't just about waiting for the tech to get good enough. That number is a target that we can move. We have policy levers we can pull right now to make it easier to reach. So the first lever is the structure of the market itself. And this is kind of counterintuitive, but check it out. A market with just a handful of giant, dominant AI companies, which is kind of what we have now, actually makes it easier to fund a UBI. Why? Simple. It's much easier to tax the massive concentrated profits of a few big winners than it is to tax the paper-thin margins of thousands of little companies all competing with each other. But the biggest lever of them all is this one, the public revenue share. Basically, how much of that AI wealth the government takes in, through taxes or whatever. Right now, in the US, the government share is around 15%. and that's what gets us that 5 to 7x target. But look what happens if we raise that share to just 33%. Suddenly, the AI productivity we need is cut almost in half. It drops to around 3x. That could pull the timeline for UBI closer by years, maybe even a decade. So let's put it all together. On one side, you've got this huge, looming philosophical crisis, the potential end of human work as we know it. But on the other, you've got a mathematical model that suggests a solution isn't just possible, it's plausible. Maybe the technology isn't the real hurdle here. And this quote from Stiefenhofer just nails it. His point is, this isn't some if scenario we can just ignore. We have to prepare for it. The basic deal that holds our society together was written for a different era. It needs a serious update for the age of AGI. And I think that's the big takeaway. Thanks to research like Naibi's, this is no longer some abstract late-night dorm room debate. We have actual numbers. We have timelines. We have policy levers we can pull. The idea of rewriting the social contract is now a real, tangible choice with measurable results. A choice we might have to make a lot sooner than any of us expected. And so that really leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? The map seems to suggest that a future of incredible AI-driven abundance is actually possible. The real challenge isn't a technical one, it's a social one. It's about how we distribute that abundance, what we value. If we're really heading towards a world where work is no longer necessary, what kind of world do we want to build? That's the choice that is very quickly falling into our hands.